Hello, FlossTube Stitchers. My name is Shelly, and this is FlossTube number 124 from Just Stitching Inc., which is my counted cross stitch shop in Strongsville, Ohio. And if inquiring minds want to know, that is a suburb of Cleveland, so way up by Lake Erie. I'm going to start off with a vintage stitch, which I feel has been neglected on my social media and in my store. It's been a fixture in a black and white grouping on the wall opposite our front door in the entryway. So it kind of stays there. I only change what's on the desk in front of it to holiday stuff or seasonal groupings. And so this just stays on the wall, and I kind of forgot about it. So now's the time to bring it to the forefront. The chart is Snappy Sampler from Bent Creek. And if you're at all familiar with them, they are known for using snaps instead of buttons, or maybe in addition to buttons. And this is my version. So the original frame was from Hog River, which is no longer in business. And when we did this, I believe this is a family tree frame, and they don't make them in custom sizes. So this was a little bit big, but my framer put a fillet in there which kind of mimics the original. It has the little balls, and it kind of looks like the shape of the snap. So I thought that was a nice way. If I didn't point it out to you, you might not know that it was a separate piece in there. So that's that. I feel like I want to use more snaps instead of buttons in my stitching. I'm going to find some different places to attach them, and I guess depending on the size of the design, like they could be snowman eyes or coal buttons. They could be wheels on a car or a truck. They could be the center of a flower. I want to get inventive and see if I can add them, and check out maybe the scrapbook department as well as the sewing department of the big box stores and see if I can find them in different colors. I know I've seen them in silver, black, and white, but I feel like they should be available in other colors too. So stay tuned. I may have more to show you on that later. And because Bent Creek is always so generous with their automatics, I'm going to give 2 of their charts today that they provided as donations for the shop owner to sell if they want to, or give away. So the first one is Hope, and this is from their word series, and it's a classic pattern that's been reintroduced in a new format. But you can see how the letters H-O-P-E fall into the alphabet. So there's that, and then this is a newer series from them called Best Day, and this is the summer part of it. Comes with the snap and the gold charm, and on the back they show how all 5 parts go together with the saying in the center. It says, "Write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year." So I'm going to give those 2 to the same viewer, and I would like you to tell me something fun that you did this summer. It doesn't have to be travel. It could be just something you did at home with your family. But tell me something about a summer activity, and your name will be entered in next week's drawing for this. And I guess it's time for a little bit of housekeeping. Please, US only. I don't say it in every video because I don't want to be rude, but I just don't ship internationally. And the last few times that I've had to do it, the postage is more than what the item is worth. Sometimes it's double what the item costs. So it's just an extra thing for me to pay for that I'm not actually going to get any business out of it. Since I don't ship internationally, you're not likely to become a customer. And frankly, I give free shipping to almost all of my customers with a minimum $10 purchase, so I'm already paying a lot in shipping. So I please just rather it be US, and I can't tell by your name where you are, so honor system, please. Thank you. All right, now for my current stitching. All right, I'm almost done with this, Birds of a Feather. Land That I Love. And this was from 2003, but it is still available and I do have them in stock. And I am almost done. My hiccup this week was the color of the birds. Eagles, maybe? I keep wanting to call them doves because they're stitched in the color dove from Weeks Dye Works, at least that dark one is. But if you remember, I changed the color of the blue in the design to a more prim denim-y blue of my choosing instead of the brighter Father's Day that the original had used. And it may be because of the current dye lot, but I just didn't care for that bright of a color. But now, the bird that's stitched in dove looks too close to the same color. I don't mind it as the water because it's far enough away from the lettering and the border, but somehow the dove color next to the blue suede color is just too close. So I'm auditioning some different shades. So the lighter bird is stitched in tin roof, which is the substitute for white that the designer called for in the flag and the windows of the house. But I feel like that's too light. So I just pulled out, while I was here at the shop today, I just pulled out 3 more Weeks Dye Works colors that I'm auditioning for the role of the birds. And I think I'm going to choose, hello, I can't show you. I'm going to choose this one, which is called Galvanized. I've looked at it in different light next to the other skeins. I've tried each of them individually, just laid across the top to see what they look like, and I feel like that's the one that is like maybe a lighter version of dove, so I feel like it's in the same color family. So that's how I made my decision. So there's that. Then the other thing I have to do is when I take out those birds and restitch them, I have to move them around a little bit because I can't change that to 2022 and keep it in the same space because the 2s take up too much. Well, I guess it would be 1 stitch closer to the bird and 1 stitch closer to the flag, and I just feel like that's too much. So I either have to rechart it or move the birds over so that I can fit 2022. I could leave it out altogether, and I could leave out my initials, but then would I just have 5 birds at the top? That seems more like a thriller movie or something. So, but that's pretty much all I have to do. A couple of details to fill in, and then I'll be done with that. Alrighty. Then, while I was contemplating those necessary changes, I started something new, of course. And even though it was already August, I chose another patriotic that's been in my stash for a while. It's Freedom from the Early American series. And although I was interested in doing all 9 of them, this one is the one who went home with me with a skein of mossy, which is the lighter area in the grass. And so I knew I was serious about stitching this. And I thought, well, I could do the other ones as individual pillows, maybe even on the fabric that it called for. Or I could do them all as one and just rearrange them differently instead of putting the, this Freedom one is the only one that doesn't have a person or a house in it. And this was the original color tin roof that they did it on. So I could still do these individually or on one piece of something closer to that color. But I had a piece of 32 lamb's wool Joblin in my stash, and it seemed to go with the color scheme, and it took 2 strands of floss pretty nicely. So I just started stitching. So that's how far I got in a couple days time. The mossy is not as bright as the one in the picture. Now, we know that a lot of times the photographs are lighter than what they really are in person. But anyway, I like this color. I'm fine with it. However, I did, let's see, which one did I do? I think I did the leaves over here like 4 times because they almost look like the same color as the stem. Here, it's a big enough area that you can see the variation of color. And even when I tried to manipulate the thread to only use the light areas, I couldn't do it. It didn't work. So I pulled out a couple skeins of DMC. This happens to be the Sullivan's equivalent, but the DMC 730 series. So I think I'm gonna use, I have to decide which one. There's, I think, 4 colors in this series. So I have to decide which one I'm gonna use. And I'm gonna use 1 strand of Mossy and 1 strand of one of the lighter shades in the 730 series and see if that gives me the result I need. The other thing I changed was the white they used was eggshell, but I'm sure it shows up differently on the tin roof than it does on my lamb's wool. So I didn't feel like that was white enough. But instead of the eggshell, I'm using whitewash from Weeks Dye Works, which is kind of my go-to if I want a white in an over dye. And I like the way that's showing up. So that's how far I got in a couple nights. And that's been fun. I'm sure you saw that was by Little House Needleworks. And okay, that's all the stitching I've done. Next, I wanted to show, because again, sometimes I post on social media, forget to show it on FlossTube because I feel like I've already done it, and sometimes I show it on FlossTube and forget to show it on Facebook and Instagram. So pretty sure I haven't shown you these on a FlossTube video before, but I did get in 5 of the 14 colors of Linda cloth. And I know I mentioned this in a previous newsletter that honestly, I didn't even think they were still producing Linda cloth, but I kept seeing it on social media and I thought, where are they getting this from? One of my distributors carries none of it. One of them carries like 3 colors and the other one carries some additional colors. These first 2 I got purposely because I thought these were brand new colors. So this is lime and it shows up pretty good on camera. So I didn't match it up with any colors yet because I thought the pictures were coming out pretty well, and I think it looks pretty true to life there. And the Linda cloth is, did I say it's 27 count, and it's 100% cotton. The next one is called Lobster, and I have already had, well, before I got this in, like, I think I got these colors in July, a couple weeks ago. But I had already had people asking, what kind of good orange, like a good orange, not a prim, not an overdyed, a good orange to do for Halloween in an easier to stitch on fabric, like Aida or Even Weave. So I just jumped on this Lobster. Then of course I had gotten black because that's kind of a standard. And also Vintage Country Mocha, since that's such a popular color. This one, I feel like it looks a little more orangey brown in person, but you know what Vintage Country Mocha looks like, right? So that's pretty true to life. And then I got in Whisper, which you know I love a good gray for a winter sky, snowman, but it's also good for Halloween or even, you know, spring and Easter things. So I thought this Whisper was a really nice color, neutral gray, you know, not too yellow, not too blue. So there's actually 14 colors available, and if I start, I've had a lot of people ask about the prices for these, but nobody's really ordered any yet. So they're very inexpensive. They run $40 to $50 a yard, which is a 36 by 55 piece, and depending on the color. So that's where the difference in price goes. So I'll order more if I see that people are buying it, but I already have a whole bin full of other even weaves. So I just started with these because kind of had an idea of what they might be used for. All right, so that's like some newer fabric that's come in. Then we will go on to new charts. This is the latest in the Nutcracker Village series, Arabian Coffee Shop from Country Cottage Needleworks. And then I don't think I've shown you these either because I had in my notes that I was hoping to wait until the series was complete. But then sometimes I don't have all of the months at the same time, and I thought, why don't I just show them now, and then I'll just catch up later. We just don't have November and December yet. They're not out yet. So this is from Heinz It, and it's in their Love series, and this is their monthly, and of course they include the charm. So this is January, February. I love that snowman, the charm. And then March, April. Sometimes they're gold, sometimes they're silver charms. May and June. And these would be really cute to do as small pillows all in the same like bowl and leave them out all year rather than having to switch out a display. Or you could stitch them all on the same piece of fabric and leave them out as one big picture. Or you could get a frame of the right size, you know, that's maybe, I guess, yeah, the lettering is black. So, you know, maybe black or something that would be color sensitive to all of the months. Sometimes brown works. In this case, I think maybe black would be the best choice. And then just swap them out every month. So there's July and August, and September and October. So these would be great for birthdays too, if you just want to buy the months that apply to your family. All right, and then number 23 in the Hometown Holiday series is the music store from Little House Needleworks. And people have found so many creative ways of stitching these and putting them together in different groupings according to their interests of their family. Then Fall on the Farm. If you think I've shown you 7 before and I didn't explain it well, they accidentally put the information for number 7 on number 6, which was the cow. So some people still think they're missing number 6 because they don't have a chart that says 6, but that's the cow. So 7 is Pumpkin Patch. And then 8 is this little piggy. All right, Cottage Garden Samplings. It has a new one called Trick or Treat that is just adorable, done as one big picture, but of course she also shows you how you can do different things with them. And then number 9 in her yearly series is the Woodpecker. Then Imaginating had some new ones, July 4th. When I first saw this, my inkling was to think that it was the Fabric Flare wood grain. So if you wanted to do it on the wood grain, you wouldn't have to stitch all of that. Just a thought. And October 31st. Feels So Good to Be Home. And You Are My Sunshine. And those are all, the first couple were 7, and this has more pages, so this one's 8. I may have shown this to you before. I can't remember if my newsletter came out before or after my video, so I know I had it in the newsletter, so I apologize if I already showed you this, but I got more this week. A Merry Mini Surprise. And this is not a reprint, I don't think. I think these are all brand new, although it doesn't actually say that, but it also doesn't say reprint. So they're awfully cute. Then Shepherd's Bush has a new design for their stitchable mesh bags. Queen Bee. Tiny Modernist has another tree, the Edgar Allan Poe tree. That's pretty cool, and it's done on Stormy Gray by Fabric Flare. And then their Halloween crystal ball series. There's one and there's two. All right, that's what's new in the way of charts. And then let's see, while I have this here, I will just say this was the giveaway from last week, the magazine and the piece of fabric to do the gnome design that we have a new model of. And that goes to Diane Masurlis. So I've already contacted her and let her know she's a local customer and she will decide what fabric she wants for it. That's that. And then, let's see, yes, I think I covered everything else except for those of you who have shopped with me before around a Nashville needlework market know that I do Nashville Cash. Well, Emily S. gave me the idea recently, hey, why don't you do one for Expo? And I'm like, oh, I'll have to think of a cute name for it. Well, I really didn't think of that cute of a name for it. I'm just calling it Expo Stash Cash. But I did these gift certificates that you can purchase for yourself or for a friend. And the idea is to give me some spending money before Expo happens. So it's at the end of the month. I believe it's the 27th through the 29th, which is a Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And it's like a cash and carry, but it's through like a Zoom platform, an online platform. And so obviously, you know, we're paying for it. We're not actually walking home with it, but we're paying for it. So the idea is to get your orders in for what you think you might want to get, or at least tell me which designers you're interested in, and buy yourself a gift certificate. Doesn't have to be used just for Expo merchandise. You have until the end of the year. But what it gives you is for each of them, they're sold in $25 increments. And for each one that you purchase, you will get a chance at any of the door prizes that I decide are going to come out of the Expo merchandise. And sometimes it's just something that I decide to buy a lot of and give a couple away. Sometimes it is a gift with purchase from the designer, or something that comes free to compensate you for paying for shipping. So anyway, I'll decide later, because I don't even know what they're coming out with yet. So I'll decide later on door prizes. Then you'll get double the check marks on your book club card for any charts you purchase. And if the designers release any free charts, I'll make sure you get printed copies of all of those. And again, US only, please, because that's all I ship to. And you can come in person if you're local. You can call on the phone. You can Facebook message me. You can email me and ask for a PayPal invoice, however you want to do it, and you can get as many as you want. I've had a lot of people just buy one $25 one because they don't really know what's going to be at a market. And sometimes I have people buy a large amount of them because they know they have a couple more months to use them. So whatever you want to do, no pressure. But I did them in $25 each to make it easier. Okay, I think that's it. The something fun that we did already, besides the wedding, of course, but a summer activity is to go to the fair. So I'm going to show a little video clip of things that we saw at the fair at the end of this. So I think that's it. I hope I didn't forget anything. If I did, I'll sneak back in and put a little disclaimer at the bottom or add the information that I forgot to say out loud. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.